Now that you have all the parts you'll need to build your 3D rig, we can review how those pieces actually fit together. The first thing we'll need to do is to join the PVC tees together with the double male nipple connector using a reasonable interaxial distance. The interaxial distance is just the horizontal distance between the two cameras, or more specifically, the horizontal distance between the center of the lens on one camera and the center of the lens on the other camera. What's considered a reasonable interaxial distance is roughly based on the range of adult interocular distances, which is just a fancy term for the distance between a person's eyes. And again, being more specific, it refers to the distance between a person's pupils, which is why it's also sometimes referred to as the interpupillary distance. The standard range of interocular distances in adults is between 54 and 74 millimeters. If you venture too far outside this range, you're going to have problems. If your interaxial distance is too small, then you'll lose most of the 3D effect. But if it's too large, your eyes will have a hard time resolving the different perspectives into a unified image. In my case, I'm using two Xiaomi Mi Sphere cameras, so the absolute minimum interaxial distance I could get even with the cameras butted up against each other is about 79 millimeters. But having them that close would be awkward. In my actual setup, I have an interaxial distance of about 87 millimeters. Even though this is outside the normal range of interocular distances, it actually works perfectly. And having the cameras slightly further apart actually makes the 3D pop in a way that makes the images really immersive, but not unrealistic or hard to look at. So in joining together your tees, I suggest you aim for an interaxial distance somewhere in the range of 75 to 90 millimeters, and probably closer to the upper end of that range would be better, for reasons we'll discuss later. To actually put them together, just screw the nipple connector into the half-inch threaded piece coming off the side of one of the tees. When it's secure, screw the threaded part of the other tee onto the other end of the connector. Every couple of turns, check the distance from the center of the vertical tube on one to the center of the other until you've got the correct interaxial distance. Once you have it, place the connected tees down on a flat surface and make sure that both tees are perfectly level and aligned. You'll know they're good if both of the bottom openings touch the flat surface all the way around and the connected tees don't rock around on the surface. The next thing we want to do is add the screws and nuts to the tees. We're going to use these to hold our camera handles firmly in place when we use the rig. First, decide which side is going to be the front of your rig and which is going to be the back. Then, using a 1/8 inch drill bit, drill 2 holes on the back of each tube, one about a 1/2 inch from the top and the other about a 1/2 inch from the bottom. Try to get as close to the center line as possible, and try to drill your hole as straight as possible. We want the screws to go in at a 90-degree angle to the camera so that they push the handle straight forward within the tubes. Once the holes are drilled, it's time to insert the screws and nuts. Take a nut and use your finger or a pair of pliers to place it inside the tube over one of the holes. Then take a screw and start threading it through the hole. Use a screwdriver to keep threading the screw until it comes through the wall of the tube and catches the nut. Keep going until the screw goes all the way through the nut and slightly protrudes on the other side. Repeat this for all 4 holes. When you're done, it's time to move on to the base plate. I'll show you what to do with that in the next video.